Now what they mean by without using a calculator is you need to show step-by-step working, okay? It does not mean that throughout your working out of this question, you cannot use a calculator to help you in your calculations, okay? So without using a calculator means you must show step-by-step working. Now they want you to find the value of A and of B. So your final answer, you must have A equals something, B equals something. Alright, so this part here is very important because students will lose, it can be 1 mark, then they lose 2 marks at the end when actually they can solve the question. Okay, so this part here is what is confusing to some people. They want you to find the value of A and B. Where's the A and B? It's nowhere in this equation, right? Okay, it's nowhere here. The A and B actually appears in the answer when you solve this equation. So when you solve this equation, what does it mean by solving this equation? It means that they're asking you to find the value of x, right? Okay, so when you find the value of x, right, the solution, the answer will become like that. Okay, with a cert here, square root 15, and the A and B that they want you to find are these two numbers. Alright, so you don't bother about this first. You just know that when you solve this question, you solve, you will get a number plus another number. Now take note now, your B can be negative, although it's a plus here, your B can be like negative. Then times square root 15 divided by 7. Okay, then your answer, final answer is not this. Final answer is A equals something, B equals something. Then you get full marks. Okay, so how do I approach, or how do I start doing this question? Because they said the solution is this, right? So they will actually have to solve this equation. Don't bother about this answer first. You solve this equation, you will end up with this answer. So what I do is, I will do step by step. I so-called expand this, and you will see that I actually put the X in red to highlight to you that, okay, I actually want X on one side of the equation and all the other numbers on the right hand side. So you can see that this X square root 12, right, I actually minus X square root 12 on both sides. That's why it appears here. And I noticed that 12 can be broken up into 3 times 4. Why I choose 3 times 4? Because although I can't square root 3, I can square root 4. And that will give me 2 square root 3 here. Okay? This one, same thing. I know that there's a 9 hidden here. Okay, I use prime numbers to help me as mentioned in class. I can square root 9 to give me 3. Okay, and the square root 3 I leave it. And the X of course I leave it. These two I can't do anything, so I leave it. Now as you can see, everything on the left side of this equation has an X. Okay, so I'm grouping all the X on the left hand side, leaving the only pure number, square root 15, which I can break up into, again I use prime number 3, okay, because I can square root the 25 to get 5. Alright, then I simplify. You can see this and this cancels off, and I don't write this as the first term, I write it as the second term because I'm going to rationalize the denominator later. So I want A minus B. I don't want minus A plus B. That's very confusing when you rationalize later. Okay, so that's the reason for me doing the first few steps as such. Okay, and as mentioned, we want to find the value of X, right? So you must make X the subject, which means you cannot have this here. So the only way to remove this is to divide both sides by this divide. That's how it appears here. Okay, the next step is the most important step, and that is to rationalize, because as you can see, the answer that they want us to achieve has a rational number 7 as the denominator, whereas ours is irrational. So what we need to do is this particular step here, you need to rationalize it. How to do that? Multiply exactly the same numbers. The only thing that change is the sign in the middle. Okay, so this step is important. You must put brackets here and change this minus to plus. Alright, then do the denominator first. Square this to get 3. Square this. Okay, the negative just remain because it's a minus b times a plus b, which is a square minus b square. So the minus is still minus. Then you square the 2, 4. Square the square root 5, you get 5. Then number times number, that's 15. Square root times square root, that's 3. Number times number, that's 10. Square root times this square root, you leave the square root as it is. 3 times 5, that's it. Okay, as you can see, all the other numbers other than this one, they are all ordinary numbers now, which you can work out using your calculator, and that's the answer you got. Okay, now is this the end? If you leave this as your answer, then you will probably lose 1 or 2 marks because you did not find the value of a and b. Okay, so as I mentioned, after finding this, you compare with this, and your a in this case will be 45, your b is 7.